On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, we have Bitcoin Core releasing version 0.14.2. That's kind of interesting. You'll find out about that in a moment. The Chinese miners had a roundtable discussion and came to a consensus, an agreement on activating something called Segwit2x, which we spoke about last week. I'm going to go into that. And I've got a new segment for you today. I've called it Cool Tools. So I've got a new trading tool that I've found where you can trade. It's on a centralized exchange. However, your funds are insured. So that's kind of interesting also. So we're going to go through those things, the market roundup, and a chart reading on today's episode of the Cryptoverse. Stay tuned. Hi there guys, and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. I'm your host, Chris Coney. Now then, I am also the founder of Cryptoversity.com, the online school for Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. You can find out more about that at Cryptoversity.com. So let's begin today with, what would you begin with? Let's begin with a sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by RoboForm, the best password manager app I have ever come across. Not only does RoboForm allow you to have one master password that protects everything, it also allows you to generate individual passwords for every single online service that you care to use. In addition to that, it also remembers the login page for each of the services. So if I wanted to log into my Uphold account, say, I would open up a new tab, click the Chrome browser tab, type in Uphold, it would find the passcard, click go, it would go straight to the page, enter my username and password, and then I would land on the desktop. So that's 5 seconds. I don't have to remember the very complicated password or my username or anything like that. And then when you do sign up with new services, you click the RoboForm icon, click generate, and then it will generate you a password that you can't see it, but it's a really complicated password. And you can set the rules, so you can say I want a password for 10 characters with numbers, without numbers, all that kind of thing. So it really does make your life super, super easy. So check that out in the link in the video description. So I love RoboForm. I've been using that for years, and it's my favorite password manager. Righto then. That's all I've got for in terms of sponsors. One's quite enough. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to jump ahead, I'm going to I've started putting timestamps in the video description of the recording. So if you want to jump ahead to a particular segment, just click on the time index and it'll jump to it. Of course, that you have to wait till the recording goes live to do that. That doesn't work on all platforms, but it does work on YouTube on the desktop website version. Anyway, let's move swiftly on to the market roundup, which comes to us courtesy of coinmarketcap.com. So let's see what we've got for today. The biggest winner in the top 20 is Litecoin. Ding, there it is. Lovely Litecoin. Now, we'll look at the chart for Litecoin in just the next segment, but Litecoin, I think it touched $50. It's not quite $50 right now, is it? What CoinMarketCap is reporting at $49.87. Of course, that's a static number. Actually, I can see it on Bitcoin Wisdom at $45 right now. We'll check that out in a mo. Now, I saw a tweet from Charlie Lee about this, jokingly saying that he wish he'd have left Coinbase earlier, because pretty much soon after he did, boom, the Litecoin price took off. That was a coincidence, and we'll look at the chart to see why that was. And Litecoin's market cap of 2.5 billion is enough to put it in fourth place here above Ethereum Classic, which has a market cap of 2.1 billion. So 2.5 billion for Litecoin, 2.1 for Ethereum Classic. Fourth and fifth positions respectively. Now the biggest loser in the top 20 is Bitcoin. So let's scroll down to 15th place. Here's Bitcoin in 15th place, 11.2% down on the day. You'll remember that I said I was expecting Bitcoin to fall back down to where it was in the bowels, but it's taking a lot longer than I expected. So that's just the way it is. Now at an 11.2% loss, that puts Bitcoin under $500 million market cap. So that's the biggest loser of the day. Looking further afield, we have to go down to 23rd place here to Ant Shares, which has had a stellar move. I shouldn't say stellar, that's another coin. It's had a huge move, up 71% in the last 24 hours. And I initially thought ant shares was something to do with having shares in a mining pool that's called ant pool. So I thought ant shares, ant pool, maybe this is shit. No, it's not the case. Ant shares is a smart contracts and smart asset platform. So it's more akin to BitShares in that way. But anyway, ant shares are now trading at $6.14 down there in 23rd place. You know, another pick, one of my picks for last week was library credits. And they are actually 59th, I think now. 59, where's 59th? There they are, library credits. LBC is the token number code thing. 76 cents. So actually, I think when I said this was my pick, they were trading at 59 cents. And they're just at the point in their project where they've almost got a full version to release to the masses. They've been refining it. I had Jeremy Kaufman on way back when they were still sort of in private beta. I've been using it. It's cool. It's brilliant. Check it out. And also they're on their way up, so pretty good. And then finally, Peer Plays is up 54.7% today. Over the weekend, it went up from, where is Peer Plays anyway? I think it's 49, 50, no, there it goes, 51. So over the weekend, Peer Plays popped into the top 100 and now has gone over 2 days right up to 51st place. And it's trading, $16.24, up 54% today. And this is all still down to one single exchange that is trading Peer Plays. So as Peer Plays market cap rises, I expect that other exchanges will get their attention and they'll want a piece of the volume. Unfortunately, right now, the volume is in the last 24 hours is only $15,000. So if you want to liquidate your BitShares, your Peer Plays, there isn't a lot of liquidity out there right now. So that's kind of a chicken and egg, isn't it? No volume, so the exchanges won't want it. If the exchanges don't want it, how are we going to get the volume up? But it'll happen. At least that CryptoDAO, which is the one exchange that is holding Peer Plays trading right now, at least they are doing it. So that's I appreciate them for that. So that's all I've got for the market roundup today. Let's move on to the segment number 2, which is chart reading. We begin by going to Bitcoin Wisdom to look at the Bitcoin price chart. There it is. So what we got? So you may have, I think we spoke about this a couple of days ago. So if we're on Monday today, then that would be Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday would be, Thursday and Wednesday of last week were the big crashes in the Bitcoin price. I've made a couple of notes about this. This kind of volatility I expect to become common over sort of the rest of June and July. Sounds like a weather forecast. And that's because when August arrives, we have the possibility of this user-activated soft fork, hard fork, contentious, and which is the mandatory activation of segregated witness. Now, in terms of technical analysis, we did drop as low as 21.20 on Thursday. That was the low of the day on Bitstamp. And that was right before the price was rejected and went quickly back up to around 23.19, which is that price I've been talking about recently. 23.19 right there, horizontal line. It's been tested again on Friday, the low of the day, and it held. So that gives me even more confidence that that is a good point of support. Now, I actually bought in during this crash at around 2,300. When I saw the big drop, it was like, I have to get in. So went in, bought some more Bitcoin. I didn't get it quite as cheaply as I could have done because it went right down to, like I say, 21.20. But I got in below that support line that I'm talking about, which is 23.19. So that position of mine is pretty well protected. My entry point, if you like, is behind a line of support that I have confidence in. So that's all you can really hope for in trading, is a good entry and getting it under a line of protection. So that's what I've done. All right, moving on to what's next, the Litecoin price chart. So what we got in terms of Litecoin, this pattern we were looking at. This pattern has performed pretty much exactly as expected. Actually, even better than expected. I mean, look at this. Boom. Big old breakout. A delightful breakout to the upside. Now, I did actually consciously chose not to respond to all the people that were sending me messages asking me why the hell I was increasing my Litecoin holdings. Last week's shows, I think prior to that, I said I was increasing my Litecoin holdings for two reasons. One, on a fundamental basis, I can see the community growing, adoption growing, and so on. So that's fundamentally, in terms of fundamental analysis, why I see Litecoin's price being bolstered. And secondly, we talked about this pattern, right? And I said, based on probabilities, because the price entered the wedge in an uptrend, typically these patterns resolve themselves by breaking out in the same direction they entered. And the breakout is usually the same height as the wedge. And actually, that looks pretty, I haven't done the calculation on this, that just came to my mind. It looks to be pretty much the same height as the wedge itself. So it depends where you calculate it from. I would assume this is it, here to here. So I haven't done the sums on that. I'm not going to do them on the fly because I'll probably get them wrong. But anyway, I didn't respond to the questions of why. I figured I'd just wait a few days to see if the breakout actually happens or not. And then if it did, I wouldn't actually have to explain it. And now I don't have to explain why I was increasing my Litecoin holdings. I'm not going to sell them either. I don't do that, right? I'm building wealth. So I want to buy assets that are undervalued, and then when they go up, that just becomes a diversified portfolio, right? Now, I did say the other day that with regards to this pattern, when someone does technical analysis and says something is going to happen, it can only ever be probable, right? It can never be guaranteed because trading is a chaotic system. It's people, right? You can't predict people's behavior, not rationally or irrationally. It's only based on probability. So you have to go with what's most probable. And of course, make sure you always protect the downside, either with a stop loss or by, buying in below a line of support, or by trading in small amounts on each trade. That's really the best thing you can do in that regard. So that's all I've got for you in terms of chart reading today. Let's move on to the next segment, which is top stories for today. The first one I have for you today is that Bitcoin Core has released version 0.14.2. So for those of you that run Bitcoin full nodes and you want to support this forced activation of segregated witness, you can go ahead and upgrade your software whenever you wish to. Well, I mean, if you're running Bitcoin Core, that's fine anyway, but the new version is out if you wish to upgrade. Now, if you wish to oppose the user-activated soft fork, then you can run the Bitcoin Unlimited software, which they call this emergent consensus, don't they? Which is sort of similar, and it allows the users to select the block size, right? But it's, to my knowledge, it's the Bitcoin Core that's going to do the forced, the BIP 148, which is going to force Segwit to be activated without a block size increase. It's all getting very complicated. But anyway, there's links in the video description as always if you want to download either of these clients. And the reason it's complicated is moving on to another story with regards to the fork. Chinese miners met up and they had sort of a forum meeting, and someone's posted a summary of the outcome of this meeting. So there's a list of like 25, is it, or 50 different companies. Let me see here. Yeah, there's a whole. You can look at the link in the video description for this anyway. But this is basically what it says here. It says, in order to effectively solve the problem of Bitcoin network congestion, this group of miners want to expand the development of the Bitcoin network and promote a sustainable ecosystem and yada, yada, yada. So they held this meeting on the 15th of June in Chengdu, and they unanimously, I think it says, the meeting unanimously decided to fully support the promotion of the Bitcoin New York Consensus Expansion Program, which is known as Segwit2x. So this would be, Segwit double, right? So this is like activation of Segwit once 80% of mining power supports it, then a hard fork to increase the block size to 2 megabytes within 6 months. So this is the compromise solution. It's not Segwit or block size increase. This is attempting to do both and appease both sides. because a stalemate isn't really helping anybody. So my take on this is that if 80% of the mining power goes for this Segwit2x, it leaves very little mining power, maximum 20%, to support a user-activated soft fork in a different direction, right? Because if the users, i.e. the people running the nodes, forcibly fork the network in a different direction, well, they're going to have to take some mining power with them in order to continue to build that chain. But if it's only 20% of the mining power, and the 80% of it is still building the Segwit2x chain, that one, well, they may both survive, but the Segwit2x one is going to have the vast majority of the mining power. So that's kind of interesting. One concern that I've read online is that the developers of the Bitcoin Core software, they're not fans of this approach, right? And this is the kind of the concern online, is that if it goes this way to Segwit2x, then the Bitcoin Core developers may choose to withdraw their voluntary participation in the development of the Bitcoin's open source code. And that would be bad, because these are some of the best developers in the world in cryptography and in network distributed systems and so on. So yeah, it's I've got a few views on this. I don't really figure either way, but I can see it from both points of view. On the one hand, I think, well, that's kind of childish, because it's how a spoiled child would behave, right? If you don't play the game by my rules, then I'm not playing anymore. So that's on the one side. On the other side, part of me thinks that they're bluffing, right? Bitcoin is, in my opinion, one of the coolest software projects in the world. And I think, honestly, just in my humble opinion, I think the Bitcoin Core developers want to work on it, right? And I don't think they would quit on it that easily, right? Especially if they want to work on it. Even if they don't get their own way, maybe their desire to work on the coolest software project in the world would cause them to get over that resistance and then go, okay, fine, we'll accept Segwit2x and we'll continue our development on it, you know? Considering that Segwit's in there anyway, right? Now, that's just my take on it for today. It's open to change tomorrow if I get more information or get a new awareness or whatever else. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think there's anything else I want to mention in this particular write-up from the meeting. I'll link back to this Medium post that details this New York agreement, and also you can check if the miners are doing what they said they're going to do. Yeah, in point 4 here it says we are eager to activate the New York consensus by the 31st of July, which is right before the 1st of August, when the user activated soft fork is supposed to happen, right? It says here, point 2, as of Monday, today, we'll begin to vote for support for Segwit2x, and then we will write the NYA, New York Agreement mark, in the Coinbase of the blocks that they mine. So in the video description, you can go to Coindance, go to the blocks section, and you'll start seeing that these are all of the blocks that have been mined by various mining pools, and you can see in the Coinbase string here, you've got things, this is where it starts happening. I've done a browser search for NYA, and you can see here, they have started doing it. They've started signaling NYA that they support it. So then these 3 columns show what percentage of the blocks are supporting these different scaling proposals. You've got Emergent Consensus, which is pretty much Bitcoin Unlimited, Segwit2x, which only has 2.7% of the support so far, and then you've got Segwit here, 31%. So yeah, they are doing what they said they're going to do. They've started flagging for it as of today with this NYA tag. Pretty cool. So you can check that out for yourself in the video description. You can check it out. Righto, that's all I've got for the news. Oh yeah, let's move on to this new segment that I'm trying out. Call it Cool Tools. Everyone likes a cool tool, don't they? So this thing's called Cryptoversities. Here it is. This is a British company, and it's not a surprise this has come out of London, because London's like mad financial district, financial center hub. So they've got access to the existing financial system in a way that many cities do not. Anyway, The reason why I'm pointing this out is these guys aren't a sponsor, by the way. I just found this and thought it was a cool tool. So it's a centralized exchange, right? I'll give it that. So you can trade crypto on it. And the thing with this, why it's cool, is that they store your Bitcoin offline in cold storage, as you'd expect them to, but it's also insured. The US dollar value of that Bitcoin is insured in case they go bust, right? Which is pretty sweet. They also allow you to trade derivatives like futures contracts and all kinds of fancy stuff like that, which is interesting if you are a trader. And they also, you can see this yourself on I think it's on the trading page. No, maybe not. Well, basically what I'm looking for is the section I found where it says they declare your portfolio balance on the blockchain every Wednesday, which is kind of interesting. Oh, here it is on the intro section. Yeah, down here, this bit here. So they publish your portfolio value on the blockchain, and they also give you a specific Bitcoin address where your Bitcoin is, right? So they'll control that address, but every client gets their own Bitcoin address that they can query at any time and see that their funds are still there in cold storage. So that's for transparency's sake. So that's cool. The biggest thing though is that it's insured, right? So if they do go bust, you won't lose your money. So I guess you just get the US dollars payout from the insurance fund and then buy some more Bitcoin with it, right? Depends where the Bitcoin goes that they've got in storage. Either they'd pay you it back out of, I don't know how that would work. I'd assume that if they went bust, then someone will be able to get access to their cold storage and then send it back to the customers. But in the event that doesn't happen, you can still get your money back, right? By claiming the insurance and getting the dollars. So that's second best. Pretty cool. Right, I'm not going to do the interesting ICO section today because we've done cool tools and I'm trying to keep the shows within a reasonable length. So there we jolly well go. That's all I've got for you today. The final thing I'd like to say is I'll give you the ways that you can support me. So if you've enjoyed this episode, obviously hit the like button, leave me a comment below with some feedback and get subscribed. But also if you'd like to support the Cryptoverse, you can go to cryptoversity.com/podcast and either send me a Bitcoin tip to any of the ways that you can do here. You can scroll to the bottom, join my affiliate program if you want to earn some cryptocurrency. You can earn Bitcoin and Litecoin for referring people to Cryptoversity. Or you can buy yourself an online course, which is in the courses section. Got courses anywhere from $10 for this movie, which is called Bitcoin, the End of Money, right up to $59 for the Digital Money Revolution course. And if you want to be a real supporter, you can go to the enroll page and become a patron by pledging a monthly amount anywhere from $1 a month all the way to $49 a month, where if you become a Cryptoversity champion at $49 a month, you get access to a priority chat group with me in it and access to all of Cryptoversity courses for as long as you are a patron. And of course, it'll also help to fund the Cryptoverse, which provides free cryptocurrency information to people that may not otherwise be able to afford it. So that's all I've got for you today. Thanks very much for joining me live on this Cryptoverse episode. I'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.